Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Go video. In this video, we are going to be going over Niantic's brand new 3-strike discipline policy. In other words, it's also their brand new banning policy. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into this. And as always, I will go ahead and give you guys my thoughts and opinions as we're going through this, as well as at the end. So, at Niantic, we strive to create a friendly and fair gameplay experience for all players. As part of that commitment, we enforce a 3-strike policy against cheating. This policy may provide offenders with a series of disciplinary actions that gradually increase in severity and provide multiple opportunities to change their behavior. If offenders reform their ways, they are welcomed back into the game. However, if offenders continue cheating, they will be permanently removed from the game in accordance with the Pokemon Go terms of service. So right away after reading the first paragraph, something I want to go over right now is that they say that they give you multiple opportunities to change your behavior. However, this is actually not true at all. And I'm basing this also off evidence that has basically happened over the past couple of days, so even though they're saying that they give you multiple opportunities, they don't actually give you these. Pretty much what ends up happening is that if you end up, violating the terms of service for whatever reason, they'll just go straight to suspending your account without even giving you a warning half the time. The only reason that they would ever give you a warning is if you are spoofing, which is kind of weird to be honest, because spoofing isn't the only way to break the terms of service. However, that's the only way that you're actually going to get a warning. So if you're not spoofing and let's say, I don't know, you do something wrong that's against the terms of service, they'll just immediately suspend your account, and they won't tell you what you did either. Instead, they'll just give you a list of reasons of potential things that you could have done, which mostly relates to spoofing, which is kind of lame for the most part, especially considering that not everyone who gets suspended is a spoofer. And so that's something that I really find kind of misleading, especially considering that this is their 3-strike discipline policy, yet they don't even follow it and they don't give a lot of players multiple opportunities. The only players that get multiple opportunities to change their behavior are spoofers. So kind of confusing there, but let's just go ahead and keep on reading here. For the purposes of this policy, we define cheating as behaviors that violate the Pokemon Go terms of service and trainer guidelines, such as falsifying location, GPS location spoofing, and accessing Pokemon Go clients or backends in an unauthorized manner, including through the use of third-party software or add-ons. So basically what this means is that if you're using spoofing apps, or if you're, data mining Pokemon Go, you're accessing their servers, or if you're even using IV checkers, which is really crazy, but yeah, if you're using IV checkers, that counts as third-party software, especially if it's an application that you download on your phone. If you're using Poke Assistant, which is actually a website that you can go on your computer, that is completely different because it does not access your phone and therefore there's no way to really track it. But if you have an application on your phone, for example, like PokeGenie or CalciIV, or really just any application that requires you to log in, I know those two don't actually require a login. Regardless though, those count as third-party software and therefore you can actually get banned for them. I'm not saying that people actually get banned for them for the most part, but I have seen a couple cases where people actually have gotten banned for using third-party IV checkers. So just wanted to let you guys know to keep that in mind. But once again, guys, they pretty much list these 3 reasons, yet at the same time, they don't ban people that are spoofing, they don't ban people that are data mining Pokemon Go, and believe me, there are some people that are going very public about data mining, but at the same time, if they're not giving their account info, they can't really do anything about it. So, therefore, if you're careful and you don't give out your username, most of the time you won't be able to get flagged. The only thing that they can really get you on is if you're using third-party apps, for example, like IV checkers and stuff, where you actually have to log into the app. Therefore, they can actually track that. And even if you're not using that, but let's say you're a Pokemon Go YouTuber like myself, or, you stream Pokemon Go regardless, right? If you're using one of those third-party IV checkers and they see your username, they can ban you, and they have evidence of that. And so that's just something I wanted to point out there. But as far as that goes, pretty much in my case, I have not done any of these things. For one, I've never spoofed in my life, I've never data mined, and as far as using third-party software goes, I've never done that. The only IV checkers that I've ever used are Poke Assistant, which is actually a website, so it's not even on my phone. I go on the computer and I look at my IVs and I have to manually input the info. No login info is required, and so it doesn't really make sense as to why my account was suspended, but then again, I'm not going to argue that there are, other reasons as to why you could have violated the terms of service. But this isn't just about me, because there are a lot more legit trainers that were also wrongfully suspended during the past couple of ban waves, and it's kind of like, well, this is the stuff that you're highlighting, and if we haven't done any of it, why did our accounts get suspended? So Niantic isn't actually giving us all of the information that we need, and especially the stuff that they're kind of targeting right now. For example, in my own case, I know people in the past have told me like, oh, like you were using multi-accounts before, you were using scanners and stuff before, and, you know, that's the reason that you got banned. And as far as scanners go, the only way that you could pretty much get banned for it is if you were the actual bot that was, you know, getting all the information from their servers. For example, if you were accessing the information of where a specific Pokemon was, like their location from Slack or Discord, they can't really track that, to be honest. So in my opinion, I haven't found that much evidence of people actually getting banned for using scanners, especially since they're already down now and they're not coming back for the most part. So scanners are pretty much irrelevant at this point. And multi-accounting, on the other hand, is a completely different story because it's a little bit harder to track if people are actually using multi-accounts or if they're playing multiple devices at the same time. There's no real way to track that unless you're actually filming yourself and putting it on YouTube or, you know, live streaming it, etc. And so in that sense, yes, they could have used that against me, and I'm not denying that at all. But when it comes down to it, there are so many other legit players that don't, you know, upload to YouTube or they don't live stream, and they were also hit with the suspension as well. And so because of that reason, it definitely made me think about it, especially since they don't even mention it in their 3-strike discipline policy, as you guys have seen so far. And so with that being said, it's kind of like, yes, it could be used against me, but then in that case, why did everyone else get suspended when they weren't doing it either? Especially since there's no way to track it unless you're, you know, displaying your usernames on video or live stream. And in my case, yes, that could be a definite potential reason as to why I got suspended, which obviously, if you guys have watched my last video, I'm no longer going to be multi-accounting. It's only going to be one account on this channel, and I'm just doing that to be safe moving forward. Obviously, it's like, I don't want to risk anything, especially when I get my main account back. Like, I am not going to risk anything, guys, not even IV checkers for the most part, because it's just like, why would I ever risk, you know, getting a wrongful suspension again? And that's definitely something we're going to be going over in a future video. Essentially, it's like, what can you do to prevent this from happening? Because if legit players are getting wrongfully suspended, especially for like reasons that are not multi-accounting and they're not spoofing, it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And so with that being said, let's just go ahead and continue moving on. I'll go ahead and, you know, go into this stuff a little bit more in detail later on, but I do want to get through this right now. A strike serves as a warning. Everyone can make mistakes. This is why we've created this policy to enable offenders to learn from their mistakes and change their ways. If you have been issued a strike, don't ignore it. And so a strike basically means like you get like that red warning for spoofers. That is the only case that I've actually seen people getting strikes. So if you're spoofing, that's the only time that you're gonna get a strike. But if you get banned for whatever reason and you're not spoofing, they won't even give you a strike. So that's something to keep in mind. Take action to ensure that you do not commit any further transgressions. If you believe that your account was compromised or hacked, please see this article for tips on securing your account. Basically, all they're saying is to, you know, change your password, don't give out your account info, etc. And then on the bottom here in yellow, it says, keep in mind that offenders are not always offered 3 strikes. In most cases, they're actually not. Some misbehaviors may result in immediate account termination without prior warning. In the case where you're spoofing on camera or, you know, you're spoofing on live stream, they'll probably terminate your account on the spot because they have live evidence of you. On the other hand, you know, in my case, as a YouTuber, you know, they could use my videos against me in cases where I've actually shown that I've, you know, played on more than one device. And so, yes, in that sense, they could have used that against me personally. However, for everyone else that was wrongfully suspended, you know, it doesn't add up, right? Because, you know, for people that are YouTubing or they're live streaming, etc., yes, you have evidence against them. But for people that don't do that and pretty much just play the game legit as possible, it's like, how do you explain their suspension? And so if they weren't spoofing and they weren't doing any of this other stuff, you know, it's like, how could you even just suspend them on rightful reasons? And it's like, it doesn't make sense and it doesn't add up. Not to mention, guys, like I said earlier on, that first strike, you'll only get that first strike if you're spoofing and you get that red warning. That is the only reason that you get the first strike. Now, I have heard of people saying that they got the red warning from using certain IV checkers, so there is a possibility of that as well. It does count as third-party apps, so I can see why you would get the red warning for that as well. But in other situations, like for example, if you're multi-accounting or if you're doing something else, it's like you're not going to get that first strike. It'll just go to an immediate account suspension. Anyways, let's go ahead and continue on here with the strike 1 warning in their words. So, disciplinary action. If this strike is issued, you will see a warning message within the Pokemon Go app informing you that we have detected cheating on your account. Essentially, it's that red warning, right? In addition to this warning, your gameplay experience may be degraded in the following ways for the duration of the warning. You may not be able to encounter rare Pokemon in the wild. These Pokemon may not appear on the map or on the nearby Pokemon tracker. You may be excluded from receiving new EX passes. Duration. This strike will last for approximately 7 days. After this period, your gameplay experience will be fully restored. Essentially, this is a shadow ban. So for those of you guys who always wondered what a shadow ban was, this is basically it. Basically, you just can't encounter any Pokemon or get EX passes, etc. I'm pretty sure you can still raid with a shadow ban, although I'm not 100% positive. Obviously, I've never had one, so I don't know exactly. But for those of you guys who have experienced a shadow ban, maybe you could leave a comment down below and, you know, give me a little bit of information on it. I don't know a whole lot about shadow bans except for the fact that you can't see anything on the nearby and you can't really catch that many Pokemon. But something I wanted to point out is that a shadow ban is completely different than a soft ban. A soft ban is something that you get if you hit like the Pokestop limit or the Pokemon caught limit, and essentially every Pokemon that you try and catch will just run away. Every stop that you try and spin won't spin, and so that's a soft ban. A shadow ban is when you don't see anything on the map. And so there's definitely a distinct difference between the two. One you get for cheating and the other one you get for playing way too much. And so that's something I just wanted to clear up before I get a lot of comments down below. Alright, let's move on over to the next one. This is the serious one that I think we need to go over for a little bit. Strike 2, suspension, disciplinary actions. If your account is issued a second strike, which most of the time you don't even get the first strike, you will temporarily lose access to your Pokemon Go account. Basically, that's what I'm going through right now, and many others as well. When attempting to log into the game, you'll be presented with the message stating that your account is suspended. You will not be able to bypass this message. Duration. This strike will last for approximately 30 days. After that period, your account access will be restored. Now moving forward, guys, this is going to be the duration of it. As far as anyone who got banned before, for example in the April wave or in the June wave, our accounts are going to be suspended for 90 days, which really sucks for the most part, but that's just the way it is, and you know, we can't do anything about it. Anyone getting suspended moving forward, your account should only be suspended for 30 days given their new strike policy, but again, we're going to have to wait off and see what actually happens in the future. There were actually a couple people that reached out to me, I think either after Zapdos Day or before Zapdos Day, saying that their account was suspended, so I think they did like a mini ban wave around that time. Either way, all of you guys who got banned pretty much after this announcement was made, your account should only be suspended for 30 days, but let me know in like a month from now if your account is still suspended, and then we can go off the assumption that it's going to be 90 days, which doesn't make sense considering that they put 30 days in their 3-strike discipline policy. So yeah, we're going to have to wait that one out for confirmation, but that's essentially what they're saying as of right now. Something I also wanted to add is that I actually believe that they added this 3-strike discipline policy because so many legit players were wrongfully getting banned in their past ban waves. And so their banning system is creating false positives, which basically means that they're flagging your account for stuff that you've never done before, which is essentially the biggest problem right now in Pokemon Go, is that legit players are getting banned for no reason, like literally no reason whatsoever. And I already know that I'm gonna get people in the comment section saying like, oh, well, you used scanners and stuff before, you were multi-accounting. Honestly, I don't even care anymore about me. Like, forget about me, guys. What about everyone else who was wrongfully suspended who wasn't doing any of that stuff? Because there's no way to track it unless you're putting it on YouTube or you're live streaming it, and I know for a fact most of these people are not doing that. Given that this does happen pretty often in most gaming companies, it doesn't, you know, justify the fact that it's not right, especially when you try and contact them and tell them, you know, that you've never done any of this stuff, and they just send you an automated message saying that your account is going to be banned for 90 days, or that they found that you violated the terms of service, even though you never have. And I'm not talking about me, guys, I'm talking about everyone else who was wrongfully suspended who has never done any of this stuff, and so, you know, that's what really sucks. It's not about me, guys, honestly. I know a lot of people are thinking like, oh, well, like, you've done this or you've done that, but it's not about me. It's about everyone else who's getting wrongfully suspended, who didn't deserve it, right? And so that's kind of my biggest gripe with it all. Anyways, continuing on here, guys, we're almost done with this. Alright, so strike 3, termination, disciplinary actions. If you receive the first and second strikes and continue to cheat, your account will be permanently banned. Essentially, if you get the message saying that your account was terminated, this is essentially a permanent ban. And like it says, duration right there, permanent. In some cases, you can appeal it, but here we go, we're going to read this right now. Appealing your punishment. If you believe your account has been terminated in error, you may appeal the termination. We will respond to your appeal after a complete investigation of your account. Please note that due to the high level of accuracy in our detection systems, very few terminations are ever overturned. So 2 things here that I want to go over. 1, yes, very few terminations are ever overturned. 2, their high level of accuracy isn't actually very accurate. And for most of you guys who have been wrongfully banned, you know this. And so that's what really sucks, is that, you know, legit players are getting caught in these ban waves and they can't do anything about it because Niantic is claiming that their banning system is like super accurate, even though it's not. And that's personally my biggest problem with this 3-strike discipline policy, is that they're claiming that their accuracy is like on point even though it's not. And so legit players are getting caught up in these ban waves when they really shouldn't be, and that's what really sucks, because you can't even appeal the termination or the suspension for the most part, because for most people it's just suspended. You can't really appeal it or do anything about it because obviously they just send you the same automated responses. And I have like over 20 emails, guys, from Niantic with the same exact automated response. Anyways, though, that is pretty much going to be it for their 3-strike discipline policy. However, I do have a couple things that I would like to still go over right now. And the first thing being is that most people don't actually get their first strike warning. Instead, it goes straight to second strike and their account gets automatically suspended. And the worst part about this is that Niantic doesn't actually give you a reason as to why it happened. When you actually actually email Niantic, they only give you a list of potential reasons as to why your account could have been banned, most of them relating to spoofing. And for all the legit players that are pretty much getting this list of reasons, it's like it doesn't make sense to them because they've never spoofed in their life. And that's the main reason why I'm confident that their banning system is creating false positives, because this many legit players would not be getting caught up and getting wrongfully suspended if there wasn't, you know, something wrong with their banning system. And, you know, like I said earlier on, this is the main reason why I think that they actually created their 3-strike discipline policy, because, you know, so many legit players have pretty much emailed them saying, like, why was my account banned? Because I've never done anything. And what's even worse about it is because this only happens to a certain amount of people, you know, when they try and, you know, vocalize their opinion on, like, the Pokemon Go subreddit or the Sylph Road subreddit, they are instantly shut down and deemed as cheaters, even though they're not. And that's the worst thing about it, guys. Like, for the most part, yes, spoofers are getting, you know, hit with these ban waves, but at the same time, legit players are also getting caught up in them, because their banning system is creating false positives. For whatever reason, like, I wish I could give you guys a reason as to why it's happening, but I have no idea, and that's what really sucks. If Niantic even gave any of us who got suspended a reason as to why we got banned, like a specific reason, then we could actually pinpoint this, and moving forward, we could all learn from it, right? And we could actually, you know, avoid whatever it is we were doing in the future. And that's honestly the worst thing about this, is because how are we supposed to learn from this if we're not even given a reason as to what we did wrong? And if we're going off everything that they're saying in the terms of service and in their 3-strike discipline policy, and we're following everything but still getting suspended, that doesn't make any sense, guys. It really does not make any sense. And, you know, earlier on I did mention that a couple people were banned, I think around Zapdos Day, so there was another ban wave that happened, and for almost every case, it just skipped the 1st-strike warning and went straight to suspension. And a lot of the players that have reached out to me don't know why it happened, and it just doesn't make sense whatsoever. So, you know, we're trying to figure this out, guys, especially since nobody else is really talking about it right now. I have to be the voice for everyone who's getting wrongfully banned. Even after I get my main account back, and we're literally playing 100% legit, and I'll go over that in a different video, but even after I get that back, I will still be the voice for all of you guys who are getting wrongfully suspended, because this isn't right, and I honestly want this to stop. I think everyone else does too. At the very least, give us a specific reason as to why we're getting banned so we can fix whatever it is we're doing wrong, because, you know, for legit players who aren't spoofing, they're not using, you know, third-party apps and stuff. Like, how are we supposed to fix whatever it is we're doing if you won't even tell us and it's not even in the terms of service? And so overall, their 3-strike discipline policy, while it does look good on paper, they don't actually follow it a lot of the way through. For example, their 30-day suspension is actually 90 days for some people, and that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like I said, we're gonna have to wait on confirmation in the future, but as of right now, it is only 90 days, and so it doesn't make sense why they would put 30 days even though it's 90. And then as far as them saying, you know, a strike serves as a warning, everyone can make mistakes, that's not true, because at the same time, they say, you know, people can make mistakes, but they don't let them make mistakes, and they don't even tell them what those mistakes were. So it's like, how are we supposed to fix whatever it is we're doing wrong if you won't tell us and it goes straight to suspension instead of a 1st-strike warning? And so because of that, they're not actually following this 3-strike ban policy, because they're skipping the 1st strike for most people. I mean, the only people that are actually getting the 1st-strike warning is people that are spoofing or have, you know, third-party apps on their phone. Those are the only people, guys, who are getting the 1st-strike warning, and everyone else is just going straight to the 2nd strike and just getting suspended, just like that, without any reason whatsoever. And so, yeah, you know, there are a lot of problems with this 3-strike ban policy, mainly because they're not following it all the way through. They're listing it as they are, but, you know, for anybody who has been wrongfully banned, or just anybody, period, who has been banned, including spoofers too, they can totally tell you that this is not how it actually works. And so that's pretty much going to be my take on the 3-strike ban policy, guys, and sort of my opinions on what I think about it. And so as a player who was wrongfully banned, and is vouching for literally all the other ones who were also wrongfully banned that are legit trainers, I think that there are some serious flaws in their banning system, especially with creating false positives, and it's just not right. And so I really hope that this 3-strike banning policy will at least get better in the future and we can start to see some improvements. All this is pretty much just a formal way of saying this is how you get banned, even though half of the time it's not really the case. Anyways, though, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. If you were banned or suspended and you have gotten your account back, let me know down below as well. As always, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on this, especially considering that, you know, more and more legit players are getting wrongfully suspended and it's not right, and it really needs to get fixed in the future. And essentially, one question I have for all of you guys is, what do you consider a 100% legit player? Because there has been a huge argument about this in the Pokemon Go community between spoofers and legit players, quote-unquote legit players. And, you know, a lot of those legit players do use IV checkers, they did use scanners in the past, and it's like, I wouldn't really consider that 100% legit if you're doing that stuff. And so, you know, it's a kind of a weird argument, but I do want to get into that video topic at some point in the future, so let me know in the comment section down below what you guys consider a 100% legit player, or, you know, personally, what do you consider a legit player? Just, it doesn't have to be 100%, what do you consider a legit player? And so with that being said, I leave the rest to you guys. Let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. Let's have a conversation about this, and yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this one. So if you guys did enjoy this video, feel free to hit that like button down below. As always, I'd really appreciate it. And if you'd like to see more Pokemon Go content, make sure to hit that subscribe button for future videos. And I will see you all real soon in the next one. Take care.